So when you think of North Carolina, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Is it the sandy beaches, maybe the rugged mountains, or those big, bustling cities right in the middle? Well, the truth is, it's all of that. And to really get a feel for this state, you've got to understand that it's not just one story. It's three, and they're all carved out by the land itself. Okay, just look at this map for a second. It kind of tells you everything you need to know. See how the colors change as you go from east to west? We start down there in the flat, green coastal plain. Then you move into those rolling, golden hills of the Piedmont. And finally, you climb up into that dark, rugged spine of the Appalachian Mountains. It's a journey from sea level to over 6,000 feet. And trust me, it's not just a physical journey, it's a cultural one too. And that's the thing. This incredible landscape isn't just about the pretty views. Nope, it's forged three totally distinct histories, economies, and cultures. North Carolina isn't just one place. It's really three different worlds all woven together. Yep, three, that's the key. Just think of it like three little states tucked inside one border: the coast, the Piedmont, and the mountains. So let's start our journey right where the land first meets the sea. Our first story begins on the Atlantic coastal plain. This whole area is defined by water, sand, and you're going to find out some of the most dramatic stories in all of American history. And when I say dramatic, I am not kidding. The waters right off the coast here are so dangerous, they literally call it the graveyard of the Atlantic. I mean, think about this. Since they started keeping records way back in 1526, more than 1,000 ships have been swallowed by these waves. And we're talking about some legendary shipwrecks, too. Maybe the most famous of all belonged to the pirate Blackbeard himself. Back in 1718, his huge flagship, the Queen Anne's Revenge, got stuck and sank right here, becoming a permanent part of North Carolina's wild maritime legend. But the legends here go back even further than pirates. More than a century before Blackbeard, this exact same coastline was the setting for England's very first and pretty fateful attempts to colonize the New World. In the 1580s, Sir Walter Raleigh sent folks over to try and get a foothold, and this incredible old map gives us a peek into what they saw. And this brings us to one of America's oldest and most haunting mysteries. The colony they set up on Roanoke Island, it just vanished, without a solid clue. What happened to all those people? It's a question that's been bugging historians for hundreds of years, and it's a story that was born right here on this mysterious coast. Okay, so from the spooky, mysterious coast, we're going to head inland. We're moving into the state's engine room, the Piedmont. This is the rolling heartland of North Carolina, where most of the people live and where the modern economy really gets its power. You know, for generations, the Piedmont's economy was all about farming. Cotton and tobacco were absolute kings. But then the 20th century came along and completely flipped the script. The cotton fields basically gave way to skyscrapers as this whole new economy popped up, all centered on banking, technology, and cutting-edge research. I mean, this is where everybody is. All six of the state's largest cities are jammed into this one region. You've got Charlotte, Raleigh, Greensboro, Durham, Winston-Salem, and Fayetteville. This is the urban core, where most North Carolinians live, work, and play. And if you want to get a sense of the economic power we're talking about, just chew on this for a second. Charlotte is the third largest banking center in the entire United States. The only cities ahead of it are New York and San Francisco. So yeah, this isn't just some regional hub. The Piedmont is a major national player. All right, for our third and final story, we're heading west and we are going up. It's time to climb into the Appalachian Mountains, a place of just breathtaking beauty and absolutely staggering scale. Western North Carolina is just dominated by these ancient, incredible mountains, like the Great Smokies and the famous Blue Ridge Mountains. This whole landscape is just a world away from the flat, sandy coast where we started our journey. Okay, so I want you to look at this number: 6,684 feet. What in the world could that be? That is the height of Mount Mitchell. And here's the kicker. It's the highest point in all of North America, east of the Mississippi River. The absolute tallest peak in the entire eastern half of the continent is sitting right here in our third and final region of North Carolina. So we've got these three totally separate worlds, right? A mysterious coast, a powerful economic heartland, and these unbelievably tall mountains. So how do you possibly create one single identity out of all that diversity? Well, the answer seems to lie in this spirit of fierce independence and just bold innovation.
The clues have been hiding in plain sight this whole time, right on the state flag. You see those two dates there in the blue section? They're not just random. They tell the story of a colony that was stubbornly independent right from day one.
That first date, May 20th, 1775, is for the Mecklenburg Declaration, which was one of the very earliest calls for independence anywhere in the colonies. The second date, April 12th, 1776, marks the Halifax Resolves, and this was a huge deal. It made North Carolina the very first colony to officially give its delegates the green light to vote for independence from Great Britain. They really were first in freedom. In that same independent, innovative spirit brings us to the state's other famous motto, first in flight. Because where did the Wright brothers go to change human history forever? They went right back to where we started our journey, to those windy, sandy shores of the Outer Banks, the perfect spot to pull off the first powered flight in 1903. So, from a treacherous coast that gave us both chilling mysteries and world-changing innovation, to a dynamic heartland that's driving the modern economy, and all the way up to the highest peaks in the East, North Carolina is a state that's truly defined by its contrasts. Which leaves us with a pretty big question, right? How will this incredible diversity of landscape and people shape the next chapter of its story?